the Seller Power Session 4. I printed out the curriculum and it looks like everything's timed. So I have like 2 minutes and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how we're gonna get through the whole thing. And those of you that know me know my high I. So being very purposeful is gonna be my outlook today. And you can all help me.
We never make it through.
Sure, we
Really?
skip a lot. No,
Really?
We do. No, we skip a lot. I mean, we talk about it, but then we're able to.
You don't say, okay.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We know how to fill in the blanks after class.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing is I'm supposed to ask you about your mission. Today's expectations. You're all called cappers in training. I like that. Understand how to use the pre-listing packet effectively, learn and practice your listing presentation, and ask for the listing agreement to be signed. Have you all completed your mission work? Who wants to share?
I thought I was doing well to complete my
Or are there any questions?
contact and no questions.
The videos are easy, right?
Yeah.
The videos are always easy.
We're supposed to share our big why with people.
From the videos? Well,
No.
Karen started saying something on the contacts. You're having trouble getting your,
No, just that's, you know, I thought I was doing well getting my contacts and my previews and all of that out of the way and my note cards. But maybe I didn't get absolutely everything the mission with.
any
I
other
didn't print any
ahas?
stuff out.
You what?
We're supposed to print some stuff from KW.
So that's your homework. Okay, so
Yeah,
really
but,
no big ahas with your homework.
The listing presentation was 41 pages,
Yeah.
and I wasn't about
To print it
to
out.
print that out.
I did.
Bless your heart. Did you charge it on admin since you're teaching?
No, I figured for a penny a page, I can do that. So the report out, that's what you did last night? Did everybody get their numbers in?
Yeah.
How many teams are here?
Like track.
Two? How are the teams
There's
split up?
more people, they're just not here.
Got it, okay.
And we have people online.
Online, and so you all, that's what you called in, your
We
numbers?
track it online.
Okay.
Jamie, I never showed you that. Did you see how you're supposed to track it online?
So we have to do our chant.
Remind me to show you afterward.
Michelle?
Okay,
How about if we do?
so you need your teams for your chant.
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
So we have Team Moneymaker, right?
Are you cute?
What are the two teams?
We have White Storm.
What is
What is it?
Can you say?
Okay,
I never know.
What is it? Fierce.
it's super easy. You just have to go into my KW
Got it.
and then on the top row,
Yep.
education.
Oh, yeah.
And once it opens up, Ignite is the middle, and you can see that there's three things Ignite.
She actually lured it to me.
Yeah, you go to Ignite, once you're in Ignite, on the bottom, it'll say student resources.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
White Storm. Fierce. Strong. Awesome.
Hoorah!
Oh, did you guys
Yay.
have that?
No, I had that.
They just been practicing.
Yeah.
Sounds
We're
good.
practicing.
Okay, well, we got a little today.
You should do.
You ready?
Almost.
Sister, we have to get our theme song going.
All right, let's
You
go.
go, Sarah.
They even dance.
It's a long intro. Money! Money, 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 money! Money! Money!
Yeah. Love it.
Oh.
Damn, sure. I don't want to pay.
Bus.
So are we already at the script practicing time? You got 20 minutes? Look at that, action review. Do you usually start off right away with scripts?
No, we just did scripts last time for a little bit.
Okay, how about your phone calling?
Did that last week too.
Well, you do it every session, so
Yeah,
it
we
looks
do it
like,
again.
it looks like you have it first thing this morning.
That'd be good.
I noticed in the back of so you have a few scripts that I saw in there. I noticed in the back of my page 78, there's some other additional scripts. So if you look at the scripts that they have before you and you're kind of struggling with comfort, check out the ones in the back. There's 4 or 5 other ones back there that you might want to try. So for the next 20 minutes, you do your scripts, make your calls, okay? Any questions?
Book myself.
Are you supposed to stay in the room?
No,
I go
we
over
don't
to-
have to.
Okay, okay.
That would be like where the telemarketing.
I know. I agree. I need my space.
My office, okay.
So we're recording for the next 20 minutes and it's just dead air? Or do I have to stand up here and sing dance?
I usually make my phone calls too.
I do have a couple to make. 20 minutes.
Sarah, you can go in these extra rooms here.
That was just on my script. Right into it.
Another room?
For my calendar.
Well, good morning, Alana. How are you? Good, this is Jason. Yep. Nope. Just wanted to call and say thank you for giving me a tour of your house this weekend. Yep. Correct. Yeah, that's a tough one to answer. Nope. Well, I'm assuming that you're not gonna get a lot of traffic just by advertising it there. Yep. Correct. We're not the ones that pick up that. Just like you said, like that's what you see out there. That's just what they call it, estimate. You know what? I know what. I don't know. Be off neighbors from. I don't know the average in between 10 to 20%. Yep. Nope. No, it was great to know about your property. Yep. Like I said, I look forward to helping you in any way I can. Nope. Know that I'm available to you at any time to be an asset and resource to you. So you can call me whenever with a question or anything that comes up, and if you don't mind, I'll stay in touch to see if I can be any assistance. Yeah, when the time's right. I mean, if you want to switch and get listed with us here at Keller Williams, that'd be great. Yep. Alrighty. Well, you have a great day. Alrighty. Thanks, Elena. Bye. How's it going, Kendall? Yeah, likewise. What's new in the office? Yeah, it's going good. I got a little Ignite class here from 9 to 12 this morning, so we're on a little 20-minute break. So I thought I'd catch up on some things to do, and you're way up on the list, and I forgot all about you. So Yeah. That's not a biggie thing. I know that, I mean, I've heard, stories about them guys too, and that's what I assumed from being, not hearing back from them, that, it probably was like an internal thing. Hey, we'll give the person a 2-week trial, see if they can handle it and see what the outcome is. And if it doesn't work out, then we can always fall back on, our other options. Yep. Yep, that, and well, actually it hasn't been the focus. It now is, starting in March it will be, but usually in the winter time it's primarily my basketball. So basketball got me going, 4 or 5 days a week plus weekends. So it's pretty much a full-time job there. Yep. I'm signed up for, I get like emails and texts from like Indeed and stuff like that, just around the area and stuff like that, that just pop up. And if anything catches my eyes, I'm usually out there, but, you know, nothing here. I just know that, sometimes my wife, gets a little crabby and it's like, well, you should really do something for the, summertime. I think she's just, jealous that, I can, make my own hours and, do all this stuff and have this free time while she's got to, go to work and, you know, she's a nurse anesthetist for Mayo. And then, it's not necessarily that she works 5 days a week. She probably works, 3 or 4 because she's not, at 100%. She's like at a point, 8 something, I think. So her hours fluctuate. One day she works 3, next day she works 4, and sometimes she works double on her, a Saturday and a Sunday, and she's off the whole next week. So, exactly. Yep. All right, sounds good. All right, sounds good. You too, Kendall. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, how's the night going?
Um, it just kind of got started, and today it worked where it was like, we just kind of touch base and then they go and make phone calls for 20 minutes, so.
Okay, cool.
So,
Good. Hey, are you a notary?
pardon me?
Are you a notary? No. Okay. I am one, but I
It-
can't sign
you
my own
yourself,
client
yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Is it Nikki?
I think Jim is. I don't know if he's,
Yeah.
I know Amanda is too,
How
but
about
I,
somebody across over at Wood Elm Reed?
yeah, I'm sure they probably are. I'll go ask. But
Yeah.
I thought maybe if Amanda comes in, great, but she's not in yet. so.
Yeah.
All right, honey, thank you. Good
Yeah.
luck with the rest of your class.
Thanks.
Is it 20 minutes yet?
Not yet.
Is that still recording?
It is, yes.
So I made 8 calls and I didn't get to personally talk to anyone.
You left a message
I just left a brief message.
and identified yourself as with Keller Williams.
Yeah.
So you brought yourself top of mind.
Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good because I told them that I'd call them back, so now I have to.
Yes. I know, that's the hardest part, is bringing that accountability to yourself and then
Yes.
doing it.
So now I
It puts a
have
lot
to.
of pressure on us. It's like, okay, when am I gonna do that?
I think it's so great that we got 20 minutes in here to do it.
Yeah, right off the top. I know, my number one thing is I'm trying to get my lead gen, and there's so much to do, and now we live in Wabasha, and right now I'm in the process of bringing everything that's in our lower level up to main level, because I'm very concerned about flooding. And,
Yeah, you guys,
so
it's just crazy.
it is, I mean, I've seen high waters
Flooding coming
before.
down the river, you mean?
Yeah, well, they're saying now, I mean, it is like the thaw and what they have up north, because everything dumps into the Mississippi
Right.
River.
And it
So
comes
it's a
as
matter
far-
of where it goes in, but like I just heard up in
Comes
Pelican
from-
Rapids, they had 15 inches of snow on Saturday. So I need to go get my map out and look at Pelican Rapids and see what tributary they dump into.
I have
Where's
a friend who lives on, Lake Pepin, and they right on the water. Their house is on stilts.
Are
but
they in Wisconsin side or
No.
Minnesota side?
Minnesota. So
Oh, they're down along,
they're on the point.
yeah,
Not
that's floods
Minnesota.
every year.
Not the, mobile homes. but
Right, yep,
down
out on the
on-
water, yep,
yeah.
as you go, like where Waterman's used to be,
yes.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
he had a neat graph on,
Yeah, they're all up on stilts there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a matter of how high it'll go.
Now you got to get baseball to deal with. Jason.
So Jason, are you new with your license?
I've had it for a couple of years.
So you came from another brokerage?
Nope, started here.
Oh, what's your last name?
Wendelek.
Wendelek. So you've been active for a couple of years and you're just kind of taking it to another level now?
Correct, exactly.
Got it,
Just
okay.
trying to get fired up again, you know, long winter.
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting when it does, I mean, it's in our mind, we have so much snow, so winter is still here. But when you step outside, have you heard the birds singing
I heard that a
lately?
week ago
Oh
already.
my, I know. So they're not fooled by this winter. So we just kind of listen to the birds and try and stay positive and.
Forecast looks good. We're getting to the 40s now, a couple days this week and the next week it's even warmer.
So I live in Wabasha, a block from water.
Yeah.
And I'm very concerned. We're moving all of our stuff in our lower level upstairs.
Okay.
I did explore flood insurance. It would cost me $4,000,
Oh my God.
$2,000 deductible. It wouldn't cover any personal property in my lower level,
Wow.
except the furnace, the utilities.
Nope.
So I'm gonna have to move all my property up anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
How old's the furnace?
Probably close to 10 years. So, I mean, yeah, that's what I have to look at. I mean, if I have to get a new furnace,
Yeah.
new water softener, I think worst case scenario is that if the water comes up, the basement will fill in really fast. But then to go up to the house for another 3 feet. The water has never came in my lifetime. I think back in '65, it might have been up that high. But not into the house.
How old's your water softener?
Probably about the same. The water softener, the water heater, and the furnace are all
On city
the
water?
same age. Yeah,
Well, you could move the softener if you wanted to, you just have to put a loop in there.
yeah.
But
I mean, that was a question I asked my husband. What would it take to should we remove the furnace? You know, I mean, we're supposed to get. I had just heard 1 to 2 inches of rain Wednesday, Thursday of this week, and warm temperatures. So we're going to be having melting snow. So things could happen rather quickly down in my neck of the woods. I was just keeping an eye on that, trying to get everything upstairs.
Well, it ain't gonna get any higher than it was last year, wasn't it? Is it? During like the spring? I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, we had a little bit of water in the basement. And what happens is if the ground is saturated, so when was that flood? Back when Zumbro Falls flooded? When the ground is saturated and there's no place for the water to go, I mean, the river does come up and then it just kind of pressurizes, it seeps into the house to the lower level. And we just had a couple of pumps, we were able to pump it out. If the ground is still frozen and there's a lot of water, I don't know. I have no idea what to expect, but they're saying that they're projecting that it could be like 65 all over again. 1965 was the 100-year
You should
flood.
be proactive. There's probably a lot of people out there that aren't even thinking about that right now until it's too late. Oh, hey.
Oh, I've been watching it, and my husband's like, "What are you doing?" You know, as I'm moving all the Christmas stuff upstairs, and it's like, you know, he says it's not going to happen. That would be great.
That would be my way of thinking.
Yeah, that would be
My wife's
great.
way is like, we move everything upstairs.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, it's just the basement is storage and our utilities are down there, so it's not a living space. But there's a lot of stuff down there. My car is full right now with stuff that I'm taking to my dad's. Dad gonna bring over the winter clothes, winter coats, boots, all that stuff
where did you move down there, Michelle?
in October.
Oh, okay.
So we squeezed. I mean, we went from a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 3-car garage, 2 storage sheds, and massive gardens to a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath, no garage, which is really hard on my
Wow.
husband.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a temporary. This is just kind of an opportunity. We'll figure out what we want to do next.
Then rent that out if you move out of it?
Yeah, I'd use it as kind of a,
Investment.
yeah. I would rent it out as like a Airbnb.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's only, I mean, you can see the water. It's right by the
I have a
upper
relative-
marina.
I have a relative down there that's got the brewery in town.
At the Turning Waters, the
Yeah.
Airbnb,
Yeah,
that's your cousin?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, they've done really, I haven't been in there. But I love that I mean, it's perfect for Wabasha.
yeah, it's tourist and it's, you know, somewhat tourist. and
Yeah.
Retirement.
Yeah. I've got Old City Hall listed down there in Wabasha, and I've had a few people in there that have thought about it in terms of a brewery. Wabasha is so awesome, you know, with the bridge right there to Wisconsin. I mean, it's just a
Yeah.
gateway.
Have
There's,
you ate
it's,
at the barbecue place over there?
yes.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
Is that phenomenal? or
Yep,
what?
it is. Very
Yeah.
good. Yep.
My brother and I go there quite a bit. Actually, for sure, on Sundays for sure. They have brunch from like 9 to whatever.
Oh, really?
It's really good.
Oh, I have to remember 9
I think it's 9 a.m. to like noon or 9 to 2 or something like that.
on Sunday.
Sunday.
Then they're not open after that. I know their hours are
Tuesday, Wednesday, or sorry, Monday, Tuesday closed, and then Wednesday they're back open for lunch, and then also all the rest of it.
but they close. I don't know. It seems like they close
In the
early.
winter, they close for a little span,
Yeah.
but
Like a
they're
lot of
open now.
places
We were
do.
just there a couple Sundays ago.
I'll have to remember that.
Yeah, it's really good.
That'd be a good place to go after church.
And it's not
Mm.
packed in there when we normally go.
Now my mouth is watering. Do either of you write notes?
I haven't yet. Just-
Is it anything, when you graduated high school, did you write thank you notes? Were you forced to do that?
No, well, I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, in the olden days, now they don't.
Some do and some don't.
It's
Yeah.
so easy to get sidetracked nowadays, all the stuff that we get, you know, thrown at us and things going on. It's just,
Honestly, in my
you
head
just
all
gotta
day.
get into a rhythm. to try
Here
to
you go.
So,
system
Oh,
stuff.
that's not.
note cards, everybody loves getting mail. And I kind of chuckle, you were given 5 minutes to write note cards. It's like, well, it takes me 15 minutes to write one. I can't get 5 minutes. So, but,
We're pretty quick. We've been doing them for a while.
oh, I've been writing note cards for years, but it takes me forever. I can't, in 5 minutes, I could maybe get one done.
So is that that's the next?
That was kind of part of your lead gen. It was just to kind of ask you about your contacts. I kind of,
So I was looking forward to writing.
You were right. Yeah, and it's really, I mean, they give you, it's just write your 10 notes. And then we did our lead gen. So now we're back on, turn to page 9. Oh, write 2 to 3 notes
Yeah.
in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is everyone,
You guys, we can write our handwritten notes now.
Okay.
you got 5 minutes to
5
get
minutes.
2 to 3 notes written.
I better run so I don't,
What?
lose every minute.
You feel free to write notes.
Thank you.
Well, in this chapter, she let us know like for next week what we need to do.
So in your,
I
do you have a
I
book?
totally missed it last week. I was like,
Do you have a book on, I mean, the 3-ring binder?
yeah, right here.
So in the
From
very
last year.
beginning of it
He
is,
has it from last year.
oh. Well, this is on the website also.
Okay.
Hey, Jeannie, come to my office a second.
Uh-oh.
That's never good.
Or else just see if Katie can get him one,
What's that?
a book.
Oh, you didn't get one?
Well, he has one from
He
last
came in-
year. I don't
he came in A
know.
couple days after
Oh,
we
yeah, he
started.
needs one.
Him and, I think Mohammed needs one.
Yeah. Yeah, we have empty classroom today.
He likes Mondays.
But we made it.
That's right. I had nothing else to do. My wife's on vacation, so
Oh, it's without you?
without me, it's girls' weekend.
Oh.
So I pretty much worked all day. Got all my cards. I think I
You got your previews in?
25 cards, did my previews.
Wow.
Very good.
So I'm ahead of the game now. Anybody ever sign up for Nextdoor?
No.
Yes, never see that. We have Nextdoor in Cassett. Team counselor posted something on there.
Oh, a real estate company.
Well, Nextdoor is like a spin-off of Facebook. It's just deals
Oh,
with like
okay.
your hometown. Oh.
Okay, our 5 minutes is up. Did you get 2 to 3 notes written?
You're right.
I got,
It does take me longer.
it does, yeah. I got a half of one.
Mine's pretty long.
Do you have a rough draft?
No, because I'm following up from my open house prospects on Saturday.
I still come up with rough drafts because, and then it gets, because if I'm gonna write 10 of the same card, I'm gonna get it down once, and then I find I can move quicker through my notes if I have something to follow. I have a script to follow with my note
Okay.
writing as well as, because
Is
otherwise,
that all one note on there?
yeah, this is one note.
Oh, wow, that's a long note.
This is a lead generation note.
Okay.
So, yeah.
We tend to get caught up in our notes, so you kind of have to find people.
Well, everyone is here except
Sarah.
just Sarah. Yep. So she'll pop in. We're just going to move forward. So next, get your head in the game. You can just keep finishing up on your note there. Ignite teaches you the activities that are proven to generate results. And by focusing on those activities, your success will grow and expand. John Davis, CEO, who no longer is, correct? Who is the CEO now?
Gary Keller.
Gary Keller.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, Gary
That's
Keller.
right. He took it back. Okay. Anybody here go to family reunion?
Yes,
Of course you did.
our first year.
It was the first time?
And it was the biggest they've ever had, 20,000. It was insane.
It is insane.
It is,
But one thing that was nice is Tim, Jim, and Jen were all sick. And
That was nice.
the nice thing
But that gave you-
about it is I got to plug in because there was no distraction.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I
yep.
just
And you could
really,
do what you wanted
I got
and,
to
yep,
plug in everything.
yep.
You have to take care of you.
You
weren't
do not
the nurse?
take care of him when he's sick. You leave him alone. But something really cool is okay, so at family reunion, they have tons of
Can
vendors.
Somebody tell me how to get to the video. This is the thing, because he says watch video, but
We watch it already. It's a part of
No,
our
that was
homework.
from the homework. That was a different.
do I have to open up?
Oh, I don't know from your stuff.
Let me see if I can figure it out. Oh, that's right.
I don't know if I have to go to a,
What was it
because see, I thought she told me that I had, because I asked Erin about this yesterday. I sent her an email because I couldn't figure out how to get to the videos. And she said that you have to go to the student files,
Yeah, it's kind of.
which is
tricky.
where we were, I thought.
It's kind of tricky how to get to them. Actually go to the power. I'll go to the instructor.
Yeah, that's what.
She said it wasn't instructor. She said it was under student.
Okay.
What did I do with her email?
But I don't, this isn't the one, is it? It was developing, wasn't it, that they wanted?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, the videos are under student resource tabs instead of the instructor tab. Once you click on the resource tab, go down to Power Session 4, which is what we did, and then click on the teal colored Power Session 4 mission.
But this isn't the video, I don't think, that we're
Right.
supposed to
You
watch.
get those arrows over there,
But
right there.
that's not the video in the PowerPoint that we're supposed to be watching. It's a different one.
Different one.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's called something else.
So
Yeah, it's
Power
different.
Session 4 mission, scroll down and look for the little black arrows on the right.
So if we go back to the PowerPoint, that's the manual, we gotta go back to the instructor stuff.
No,
The
student.
second, no, I was just
Oh.
in student. This is where we need to be. Here it is. Oops, I clicked and I didn't mean to, sorry. So, it's right there.
Hi, I'm Josh Bath from Vancouver, Canada. I'm with Keller Williams for 8 years and been selling real estate for 18 years. Now I'm going to walk you through my listing presentation, and it's a 3-step process. The first part is preparation, the second part is presentation, and the third part is follow-up. A lot of my listings come by way of referral and repeat. And so when the call comes in and they want me to come over and list their home, I have a conversation about what their needs are. What exactly is it you're looking to do? Are you moving up? Are you moving down? I have them tell me exactly what the reasons are that they're selling for. I get a real sense of what direction that they want to go. One of the things that we've done to make my appointment setting a little easier is we've time blocked it. We follow what Gary says. He says time block everything that you do. And we've time blocked our slots in advance for listing appointments. Every day, Monday to Friday, we have a slot available at 4 o'clock and a second slot available at 5:30. So I've got a potential of 10 listing appointments Monday to Friday. That makes my life a lot easier because I'm able to time block my lead generation first thing in the morning and not have my day so loose and scattered. So I'm trying to scramble on where to put a listing appointment. What we do now in our team is we've decided to go paperless with our evaluations, our CMAs. So instead of printing off paper, what we'll do is we'll take it on the computer and convert it to PDF, mark it up with a highlighter from there on the computer, and then create an email from that. Email that package off to our client prior to going out to their home to list it. What I do when I go on a listing presentation is I meet the sellers at the door, and I have them take me on a tour of the property. During that time, I'm actually asking them to tell me again, to recap again, what their motivation is for selling. So I'm getting them more comfortable with them moving out of their house is what I'm doing. That usually takes about 5 minutes. And when we're done there, we transition right over to the kitchen table. We'll talk about the market, the evaluation itself, and that in itself is about 15 minutes. Once we've agreed upon a price that we're going to list at, we'll sign a listing contract. They sign the initial 3-page contract. They sign the property disclosure statement, and they sign the working with a realtor brochure. Outside of those 3 documents, that's it. I send in my measuring company to come in and measure the home. I send in my stager who's going to contact them to come in and stage the home. And once she's done, then I send in a photographer and take the photos of the home. We always do a follow-up with them as well, just to say, how did that go? What was that experience like for you? Keeps them feeling like they're in control and very much a part of the process. And it lets them know that we're paying attention to every detail on their listing prior to it even being on the market. One of the expectations that I set with the sellers is that I phone them twice a week on purpose. So I set their expectation for me to phone them on Monday mornings with what's called a Monday morning update, where I review everything that's happened for their home over the past weekend with them. The second call that I set them up for to expect is on Fridays, and that's a Friday morning market update. And what I've set them up for is that I'm going to talk to them about any new listings that have hit the market, any expireds that have come off the market, and any solds that have actually just happened since that past week. They also know that on Friday, we're going to be talking about the numbers. Does the current list price that we're at right now still make sense in relation to the latest listings or the most current solds? They know in advance that that conversation could lead to a price reduction. And a lot of times they bring that on themselves. They say, hey, look, you know what? It looks like we might be a bit high, Josh. Should we bring it down? So it's a natural transition to a price reduction. One of the reasons I choose not to do a pre-listing package is when I'm sitting in front of them, I really want their full focus and attention. I want their attention on me, and I want to be able to ask them questions where they're giving me their full attention and not flipping through a pre-listing package. Most of their questions are going to come straight from their gut, and that's really what I'm looking for. I'm Josh Bath, and I just shared my listing presentation with you, and I wish you all the best with yours.
What did he say, 45 minutes? Is that what his time with them is?
And I missed one item. He said when he gets to the kitchen table, he has them sign a listing agreement do the property disclosure, and what was the third thing?
He has some sort of,
Why does your computer do
it
this?
sounds like his own. Which we don't know.
What are the,
Why
what's
is
the
it
paperwork
do
you
say?
typically have Brenda
Um,
But that, I bring everything.
Instantly shoot you to save
I don't think
instead of.
Yeah, in the
Are you
video
going
for
back
16
to
minutes.
where I was?
Sound like the guy in the video
The
for 16
PowerPoint.
minutes. He had everything.
Yeah,
This was like a
I
5-minute
just,
one.
I just leave the seller's disclosures with them, so they can do that later. I can help, I just, let them know. Another time I can help them with that. But I have the listing contract, if I haven't done.
I just don't understand why your PowerPoint takes you to this screen.
I'll do Keller Williams.
That's
Is it down here?
What's the difference between
Right over
an
there.
agency relationship and
Okay, that's right where,
listing?
because I think that'll take me,
Agency relationship. is
yep,
when
that's
you
it.
Just have to disclose, what agency relationship. Like,
Okay.
Buyer's agent, goes with the buyer,
And then, do they sign that?
Yeah.
Okay.
sign initial.
So at the listing appointment, he greets, he walks through the home. He said he did that in 5 minutes. How does that work for everybody?
If I was the seller, I would think, well, how are you really priced now? Looked at it for 5 minutes.
I think it's tough to walk through for 5, in 5 minutes, it's hard to get through a home.
You can't get warmed up, you can't get warmed up with.
Right.
You're just gonna go right for the table, right for the contract.
And I would have walked through.
It is kind of, yeah,
I would have walked through before the listing.
correct.
Because it gives me a more accurate price to give them, the market analysis.
So it sounds like he's done a lot of work beforehand, and he probably already has an idea of what the home is worth, and he just is kind of quickly goes through it and to come up with his price, and then he goes through the listing presentation.
But it's got to be more than 5 minutes, because once you get them talking about certain things, property that you can't know beforehand, you're gonna spend.
And he did say he wants to double check motivation, so that in itself. takes some of the fun.
And
Yeah,
right, and he used that opportunity to bring it back to kind of keep them focused on moving forward.
Right. Sounds like his main motivation for the walkthrough isn't to really even look at the house. It's more to open dialogue and conversation.
Yeah.
Doesn't it sound that way?
I agree. Yeah.
What do you think of the scheduling of those 2 times every day of the week at the same time for the listing presentation, 4 and 5:30, 4 and 5:30, 4 and 5:30?
Well, I think it's, you all have to look at your own schedule. For him, this is what he does. This worked for him. I mean, depending on where we are in our lives, that 4 to 5:30 may not
Usually more people.
be able to
4
work.
o'clock.
Right. So, but if you're planning ahead of time, you can maybe, it's all about blocking your schedule. So if you know ahead of time, that's just how he chooses to do it.
And it doesn't have to be rigid. I mean, just because you've got it blocked doesn't mean you can't accommodate it different times.
Well, KW teaches you, if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And so if you do your time blocking, it's kind of like they say that 9 to 11 is prime time blocking time, but we still have to internalize that and look at where we are in our lives and how that works for us. It's a great goal.
I like having it time blocked. I'm not, solid on the times that would be best for this area and my clientele, but I think there's a certain amount, I looked at that and I'm like, oh my gosh, as a new agent, I could be sitting there with, that time block but I think there's a certain amount of positive expectancy. If you see it on your calendar and it's blocked, you're more apt to fill it with a listing appointment. Wouldn't that be grand to have all of those days?
It's what you're looking at it. It's a visual. It's the same reason you do a dream board. If you write it in your planner and you have it time blocked to do that. So let's say that you have time blocked to do that and you don't have anything to do, like you say, what would you do then with that time?
Prospect.
Or write notes or, or go to garage sales or.
Which is what Michelle does.
That's that I in me. I know KW doesn't do the disc anymore. I think that kind of went away, but they have a new one. But nonetheless,
Yeah, they still do that.
they have a different,
KPA.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
do both of them though.
Oh, do they?
The
Okay.
KPA is more Keller Williams specified to find out, like you send it to somebody that you're interested in hiring
Right.
as an assistant. And then find out and it specifically tells you on there, they'd be good
Yeah.
at a listing.
I still like the disc
salesperson.
better. That's just my
Have
opinion.
you done the KPA?
Oh, yeah, I did the disc a long time ago. The disc is just more, it's pretty simple, DISC. Has anyone seen it?
Yeah.
Have taken it? So where are
Pretty
you?
accurate.
It is, it's in the simplest form, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, anyway, okay, next, a guide to selling your home. Turn to page 69. And you're gonna break into two groups. Did we lose somebody? Nope, it's just been, so, okay, so three, oh, Lori, you're over here, so you'll break into your teams. And Jamie, we'll have you work with moneymakers, team moneymaker. And so,
Page 16.
page 69. And so was that part of your whole, you've been working up to this point of your listing presentation?
We don't have page 6.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I have an old one though, so
I know.
it's last year, so.
Yeah. Oh, mine's. Keep going.
I'll have to go off one of yours maybe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why don't, hey Google, set timer for 40 minutes. Why doesn't somebody give me their page 69 or whatever, and I'll go run it for Jamie.
Here you go. Well, we actually need.
Do you have this,
We need the
Jamie?
listing presentation in order to do it,
Oh, that, okay.
which is the 41 pages.
Which are in here.
Oh, which was in your mission?
Oh, it is in here?
Here, yeah.
How about preceding, right over, it's all this.
It's in there. Starts on page.
Oh, here,
Yeah.
27?
20.
27.
I'll keep going.
Okay.
A guide to selling your home.
I wasn't just.
The 2 pages before that, though, is 23.
Yeah, we did that. We went through that page. I didn't see that script on the bottom of it though.
Yeah, the instructor and the list, and the PowerPoint, no, that's just fairly full.
Yeah, so they give you a script.
Yeah. Actually,
Oh, whose did I take?
it really starts on
Is this
page
yours?
23.
Who's this?
33 or
Are these yours?
23, yeah, that's my,
Oh,
okay, my prospect.
well, I want to know what to print for Jamie.
Just that one page.
Just this one page?
Yeah, thanks.
Listing. Okay. We're supposed to role play this.
Listen.
Very long. I don't do that.
So it really goes up to,
And this is it.
Yeah, this home tour checklist on 24, you guys usually fill out the, what's the, the MLS sheet as you're walking through, is that what you use for your guide?
You know what, yes, but a lot of times I'll fill it out beforehand.
Let's do it.
Okay.
if
And then
you can.
If you can, I fill out as much as I can off of tax information, if I can find the listing on the previous listing or sale on mine.
Right.
And then as we go
Alright.
through, I
Go
just,
through it.
I make notes. Yeah, of it.
Deb, we're gonna go to it. Okay.
Oh, break into groups of two. I thought it said teams of two.
Okay, yeah, groups of 2.
So
Okay.
you got your group going.
Yeah, we do.
Now I just want to break out the song.
So I guess it starts on 20. Oh, yeah, I don't have a. You have a page 69? No.
Yeah. I think this is, the page 69 is just that activity.
Actually, this,
So is it 71 then?
No, this is activity, this is where it's referenced.
but this is, oh, listen, you have this? That's my page 69. See, I think mine is different than,
Each person will take 15 minutes on a 41 page.
Mine says 40 minutes.
For this
40,
time.
yeah. So nonetheless,
So what, 29?
2829 is a guide to selling your home.
Okay.
Wow. You know, did anybody else listen to Jason Gorman when he was down here? Anybody go to his,
I have in the past, not this last time.
so he,
at Thanksgiving time?
it could have been.
Yeah, I think that was,
And he gave a kind of, this is what I do at listing presentation, or, you know, when I'm trying to win a listing, he goes, this is my listing presentation.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. And he's like, give me 3 things that you want to see happen.
Well, he's probably already done it too.
Oh, absolutely.
He's probably already said that.
He could.
at any
Yeah.
time,
Because he
I
does
think
said that.
on
Yeah.
Tuesdays, he has team meetings with his team. And we're always welcome to come up at any time and go to any of his meetings. I've always thought I would love to go to one of Jason's meetings.
There was actually a video from our homework class, you know, coming into this class. And it was a listing presentation by this Bruce Hardy. I absolutely loved it.
I did too.
That was a longer one.
It was 8 steps.
Yeah.
I loved that. It was so precise and
Covered
that's the one,
everything.
everything. And he got through it in less than
16
40
minutes it was.
Oh, it was, yeah, that's
Really?
right.
Wow.
Only 16 minutes.
Mhm.
So why don't we try doing this? This one here.
Okay.
I'm going to observe because that's how I learn best.
Okay. I don't know how much you're gonna learn.
Lori, I think you probably have a good listing presentation, especially as far as, and maybe I'm not saying this right, but like you get a lot of FSBOs.
Yeah.
So I
Not
thought
a lot, but
you just got one. Yeah. And you're talking to that other guy. And so I think that interests me on your script for that.
it's interesting. I have followed up with them so many times and rarely do it. Yeah. Very rarely, because they trust me at that point. Which always amazes me. Because they're like, okay,
And those are a different personality too. They don't necessarily want you to explain too much.
yeah. Yeah. Even the one, you know, the one that I did, she moved out of town in the meantime, so I sent her my marketing. And it went through step by step, it was thick, everything that I do. Looked at it, like, okay, send me the fact. I mean,
Where not all people will do that. They'll just,
but the reason why is I kept in touch.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Because
you
there's
have
something-
multiple contacts with them, so by the time they say that,
I give them something once a week. And I can do that for 2 months.
How do you do that? How do you make yourself make those phone calls?
So then my calendar.
Do you have a sense of dread every time? Or do you eagerly, I can't wait to
I
call?
don't even make phone calls. I probably make a phone call just once every 3 weeks, but I send them something every week.
Okay, so when we did our phone calls, was it Friday? Did you teach Friday? It's Friday. So I met this couple at open house here in town a month and a half ago, and I've been sending postcards or emails every week. Been sending. And first time I called them was on Friday. And she answered the phone and she told me, I said, do you just have a couple minutes? And I try not to get into a whole real estate commercial.
Mhm.
I just said, I basically said, you know, I've been trying to keep in contact, just sending you notes and stuff like that. She goes, I've been getting them and I'm saving them, Deb. Thank you so much. Yeah, and the last
That's
one
gonna make your day.
yeah, well, and the last one I sent her was all information on Keller Mortgage. Was just giving them information on Keller Mortgage because I know that they're out of the price as far as their income, as far as getting certain programs financially. So I sent her that information. I said, I just wanted to reach out. I just wanted, to keep at arm's length with you. And that was, it was just basically a conversation back and forth. And I try not to take too much of her time. But when she said to me that she received those and she's keeping them, I'm like, okay.
So let me ask you something, because that's just like that natural high you get. So how do you get that natural high? How do you get yourself back to work and not go out to celebrate?
Actually, I have such a natural high. That's when I will make
Me
more
too.
phone
Really?
calls.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm on a roll.
Yeah.
Because I might not have this natural high for a while again. I might get beat up,
Yeah.
but when I must have said something right, whatever that was, I'm gonna say it again.
When that happened, she was my first phone call I made. We broke up for 20 minutes. First phone call I made, I ended up making 8 phone calls in 20 minutes.
Good for you. Wow. So I was a
Did you get a hold of all
few.
of
3 of them I left messages, 5 people I talked to.
Very good.
I mean, but that doesn't always happen. But when you say, how do you keep motivated? I'll be honest with you, we can poo-poo time blocking, but time blocking is essential in this business. And when people get in this business and they're like, oh, I get in it for 2 reasons. Freedom,
Flexibility.
and everybody thinks it's easy money.
Which is a joke, flexibility.
And both
Oh, they
of
like
them.
houses.
Yeah.
I
Oh, they
mean-
like houses. They like to go to the
Yeah.
HGTV. Oh, yeah, it's like, okay.
But I remember when I first started, I was an assistant, so I had hours.
Welcome.
And the one thing
So we
that,
are, we're just kind of
Bob
working on,
always said
and if
to
you
me,
want to just
Deb,
jump in
you
on a
have to
conversation,
treat
we're
it
kind
like
of
a
working
job.
on our
it's
listing
a job,
presentations.
and you have
And
to go
kind
to
of
work
the thought
every
behind it is
single
that,
day. And,
this is very purposeful here, everybody kind of has a different way that they do their listing
That's
presentations.
20 years ago.
Oh, not here.
He was at Remax.
So I would just, and you can read through that or just kind of
We were so
listen
busy
where,
in that.
and-
We were so busy, but you have
Yeah.
to treat it as a job. And those days that you're thinking, I don't know what I'm gonna do today, you know what? There's so much to plug into at Keller Williams to do. Put a time block in there. I have a time block to read 30 minutes a day to different books. There's these note cards. Is it a pain in the ass? You're dang right. But you know what? What's it gonna do to your business?
Mhm.
This, because of what we've been doing the last week, we sold 2 listings. Yes, on yesterday. We finished them up on yesterday. But it's like, it is about being purposeful. And Keller Williams tells you, and sometimes you can poo-poo it, but you have to bite in. And once you bite in and you get it, it really makes it. I mean, I think about how busy you've been in the last month and a half. Don't you think it's because you've been more purposeful?
Oh, yeah, I've been time blocking and all through the winter time. So it was just a matter of, and they even told me that they were gonna list that.
Yeah.
But it was all cold calling. It
Yeah.
wasn't my database. at
Oh.
all.
Can I interrupt you guys for a second?
Yeah.
So I was talking about time blocking, that's what I'm having a problem. So I go to school full time, not excuse or anything. And also I work open days at another job. So it's just I'm finding difficult, like, find focus on.
Mhm.
out there, do skills. Like I used to do homework, but after I get to school, I need to sleep because I got work to make. So I'm just kind of like in that tight spot right there. So what we need to do.
What hours do you have that you put time on that period of time?
If you are time blocking, so make where you are time blocking, you have your school in your time block, and then you have your work in your time block. So then you also have family, you have to eat and sleep. So you have to look at what time do you have that you can time block.
Let's break it down further. As a student, I know that you don't have classes most of the time. You don't have classes from 8 to 3. You might have a class from 8 to 9, and then another class from 11 to 2, or you know what I mean? And so this is what I would challenge yourself to, is when you don't have a class, when you're sitting in between classes, or really be purposeful about getting to your class early and saying, okay, I'm gonna get to my class early, I'm gonna write one note card. I'm gonna write one, just challenge yourself a little bit more, because we do all have 10 minutes in a day, here and there and everywhere. We just don't use them to be purposeful.
And I want to
Does that
say,
make sense?
maybe even if you use that time, because you're still in the learning mode, I mean, you need to get business, but going back to what you said, there is so much information. I mean, we could spend 24 hours a day learning Keller Williams stuff, going through KW Ignite, going through the videos. So, and you always have your technology with you. So if you figure out how to get to KWU or get to the videos and Agent Mountain, or it's been a long time since I've been on them.
They have so many books.
But yeah, just plug into that, because that helps your motivation
That's why I
too.
usually spend my time when I'm going to the kids. Places like outside home, like life kind of stuff, like connected to people, finding more needs.
So the real life is, okay, that you're going to school and you're working and trying to live life. So it's hard. So what
No.
No.
You gotta
Okay,
use
not hard.
those moments though.
But say, you need to build, you're building, it's all about your foundation. So you're meeting contacts every day, you're meeting people, so it's all about building up on your contacts. Because you don't have 40 hours a week to stick into real estate, but you can make those 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week. It's building up for your future. You're going to school, you're learning real estate, build your database, and just keep moving forward with it.
And you can get contacts from school, that's what I would do.
Yes.
What do you, I talk to the
semester.
teachers and,
I'm taking 4 classes.
But I mean, what are they?
They're financial accounting, marketing.
Okay. So those classes are gonna have plenty of opportunities for speeches or papers or whatever, and for group projects. You are going to be, if you just put all your hours into combining effort, I mean, it's a perfect merge
You want
of
specifics,
effort.
don't you? You want specifics. You don't want generality answers. You want specifics. Specifically, go to your class and have script. And sit down with classmates, let them talk, find out because at RCTC, there is a lot of age gap in your classes. So don't hesitate to go up and sit down next to somebody and say, introduce yourself and say, I have my real estate license. Right now I'm taking this class public health. And part of my homework is just really practicing script, introducing myself, and practicing on it. Do you mind if I just took 2 minutes of your time and just scripted with you a little bit? And then give me a card. And if you're ever interested in buying or selling, I would hope that you reach out to me. But take those specific moments. You're at a great age group right now where, and it just, I just read this article that millennials are not taking advantage of the fact of buying into this. This is a perfect time for millennials to invest in their financial future by buying houses. It was a great article.
and you have their parents.
Yeah. But you really network. In every day where you're at. Give yourself a challenge. I need to hand out 10 business cards today. by introducing yourself. And it's not always the most comfortable thing, and that's why you need to script with people. That's why you really need to practice, because this weekend I was, at a hockey game. I handed out 5 business cards. I would have never done that if it wasn't for this class, because that's not me. That's Tim. And I'm a good talker, but I also don't like to feel like he's car salesman, you know?
Pushy.
And the way that Zach kind of showed us in that second class of just really don't feel bad about it. Yeah, don't feel bad about it. Let them know who you are and feel good about who you are and what you've done and what you're accomplishing. And all it is presenting them who you are and offering them a service. So my suggestion is in your time, find time within school and within work to actually network. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, but
Put your
I was
business cards
thinking of
on
that
the boards
exact
up that they got out there.
millennial article that you were talking
And the
about.
quick trips and everything?
I
Even at RCTC, I've gotten
I just told my daughter to do this.
2 leads from there
Sure.
anyways, but they've called
I have
and,
to do persuasive.
they'd asked for
I
information,
said,
but unfortunately,
persuade
most of them
your
had relatives that are
millennial
already in the real estate
friends.
business, so.
Yeah.
Even if you don't, embrace owning a home, you don't find that of value. All of the research says, if you want wealth down the road, this is the difference between people who own a home and who do not own a home. And there are programs out there for you, even if you don't have a down payment right now, there are programs that can help you get into a home. And then if you don't want to live in that home, or you want the freedom to move someplace else, keep the home and rent it. It's another income stream.
So it's finding that and being able to personally have that knowledge is what you find difficult. There's, and we were talking about this, Sarah and I, and James, there's so much right now that you're just like, oh, you drown in information. It's like, you can find one thing that you can find knowledge on, and then practice. But give yourself a goal for the day, and don't make it 10 note cards if that's too much. If you feel overwhelmed, make it 3 note cards. A little bit at a time that you can find success. And if you find success easy with that, then say, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna do 4 note cards. If today I was able to do 3, tomorrow I'm gonna do 4. But find those times in your day, those 10 minutes between class, or half hour before the half hour before I'm gonna get to work. I'm gonna set that aside and make sure I make a couple phone calls. One of my note cards that I wrote on the shelf that have a script or have and I'm telling you probably half my note cards say it, but it's recently I joined Tim and Chase in the real estate world, and we formed O'Connor Real Estate. If you know of anybody that's in the market of buying or selling, please consider me. Please consider sending them our way. I thank you in advance for consideration.
I'm not scripting.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to see if I could pick up anything from going through this.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something.
No,
I'm sorry, yeah.
I just want to follow the script.
This one, are you in the guide to selling your home?
Yeah.
Yeah, what page are you?
29. Okay, yeah, yours might be different.
No,
Okay,
that's the same.
You want to be the agent or what? You be the agent. So this is gonna be pretty awkward. Because she's going to, I don't like it. But it's okay. I can probably pick things up. Hi Debbie, or Deb. Thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate it.
We have 6 goals for today. Okay, in discussion motivation for selling. We talked a little bit about that on the phone. Just going to define your 10 expectations. Review what you expect from Keller Williams and me. Explain the selling process when closing. And review 3 factors that you can close. And then at that point, you can decide whether you want to close. Does that sound good?
I like that one.
Yeah, I picked that up from that video yesterday that I listened to yesterday. Okay,
That's good because it's hard to say no to that.
yeah, exactly, because you're almost giving them a takeaway, whether, you're privileged enough to work with me, that's kind of what she was just there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was good, Lori.
Then, to do a better job of marketing your property and serving your needs, would you mind if I ask you a few questions to take some notes?
No.
Okay. Why are you moving?
We're gonna be close to that.
Okay, great. And where do they live?
They live up in Minneapolis.
Okay, so that's kind of a big.
I don't know if you're sure,
Okay,
but she's kind of
you
doing
need this over
page
the
29
Yep.
to 31, is kind of keeping it simple there.
Okay, great. Do you have a place in mind?
To move to?
Yeah.
No, not quite yet.
Oh, okay. Do you have a price in mind that you think you're going to go for?
Yes, we do.
And we'll cover that.
Okay.
Okay. I already did. Deb, I'd like for you to have a great experience selling your home. And that begins with being very clear on what your expectations are. I'd like to ask you about that, okay? Sure. Tell me, okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not so desirable and 10 being extremely desirable, what thing has to happen in this transaction for you to experience?
I don't.
Okay, and that's fair, and that's totally fair. Okay, if we could add just one more thing, what other thing has happened in this experience that's fun? And that's what we, or any other real. I think that you're, yes, okay.
Would be kind of our top priority.
Okay, and what's important to you about that?
I think it's because we're emotional.
Already, and that's very, you could have just one more thing for this experience to be a 10 plus, what would that? Okay, and communication. Yeah, and I have to tell you that that's usually the downfall of most people, and particularly sales. And so that's something that we work on, something I do. What's important to you about that?
Just knowing what's going on all the time. So if something's happening, and then maybe the HR that
Okay,
just that constant feedback.
okay. And that's a good point. Matter of fact, we have a new system, which is phenomenal and with the time. How that works is when a realtor, each realtor has a portion of the code. You set up what we call a super box right by your door. When a realtor enters the house, it records who they are. Matter of fact, let me back up this time. You have complete control over the time that the realtor spends. So what they'll do is you will get right your text or your email, whichever you prefer, the realtor's name, and they'll request what time they would like to see your home. You have complete control of that. You can either say yes to the permit, or you can give a different time. What I do recommend is you make it easy. And then after that, once they use the lockbox.
Now, how does that work?
That's a good point. That's something that we're gonna talk about once we get to the okay? So the great thing about that is they fill out feedback. I get an email and then I send that. Okay, so that's one point of feedback for you. On top of that, I call the realtor right away because it's fresh email. So I'm gonna do that. That okay? That would be wonderful. Okay, does that answer your question?
That's one of the communications.
Okay, that's part of that, that we, necessary. I just also wanted to bring up that, Keller Williams is now number one. Okay, and one of the reasons for that is parents. Some people will believe me. I take a lot of training, but it's available, and a lot of it's easy. Some people say we are the largest training organization. That just happens to be.
Interesting.
Matter of fact, we're only required to take 15 hours of reviewing every year. I'm well over. And one of the things I like to do is keep that and marketing for property. Okay? Do you have any other questions about Keller?
What makes one real estate company different from, what makes Keller Williams different?
Funding as no other company. As we know in this world now, everyone, you're gonna show your house. Matter of fact, we're in debt free. So all of our. Wow. Matter of fact, as soon as your house is entered in MLS, it's also entered in what we call Keller Williams. It immediately shoots out 700. Whether it's right or not, that's about all I know. I was gonna get through this in 40 minutes. You know, the reality is, I don't care what you think. You know, I kind of covered this, you know, the leading edge textual. It's not gonna go into the fire. You know, I can go into something with data human.
I think you did good though. I mean, basically, it's your body in this, who your audience is as far as how far you should go on.
Right.
Because if it's an older couple that maybe the address,
Right.
then they're not even gonna understand half of it. Right. Say, where if it's a millennial, then,
Or even
even our
age, even people up to 75 years old.
yeah,
I mean, 85 years old, I'm on that.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Just knowing your body,
yeah,
that's good. And then knowing what we have to want, right?
and I, you know, my thing is, and it happens all the time. What makes it different?
And what was nice, that was right on the tip of your tongue. You didn't have to think.
Yeah. And they seem to be impressive. Sometimes I'll go a step further and I'll say, the views on the line, we have access to all these other sites. Is when it's the number one world.
But if you're number one in the world, why do you see next time?
Part of for that in Rochester specifically. There was a number of these private agents that are spouse doctors. And I think that's why particular Edina is happier.
Yeah,
Better get with Deb
That's
on that
the
one.
way, when we were there,
but that's a very small percentage. All I would say is, they've been in Rochester.
And I would say that that's changing, because I would definitely agree that when we were there, that's the way that we always felt like we were up against just a couple of them, and because they were doctors' wives. But that generation, that way of doing business is changing.
I agree with you.
So that loyalty
And
for incoming, they just don't want to be told, oh, I have to work with your wife, you know?
Well, the other thing is, Michelle, since you were there, what percentage of the business at Edina actually comes from that?
I would, yeah, probably very little. I don't have any idea.
5%, 10%?
Now, looking up back then, I would say they were heavy hitters, but I don't think they are anymore.
I think
They're
it's more the
retiring.
Minnesota business connection, that Minnesota business owners like other Minnesota.
So
Because it's named after a town?
We're not-
Edina, Minnesota.
They do the close. They won't-
Well, when I was there, I used to say I belong with a real estate company that's owned by Warren Buffett, who's, you know, but Edina Realty is just, they're actually owned by an Iowa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Edina isn't past our neck of the woods, a little bit into Wisconsin, but they're really just like Counselor or something like, no, I think Counselor's a chain.
Well,
Edina is just local.
The interesting thing, which a lot of people don't realize, is in Rochester, we're number 3. Yeah. We haven't been here as long as Remax. We're taking the market.
And something to go along with that, Remax last year lost money. I don't know about Edina, but I know as a corporation, they lost money. They were down. And this is really interesting. If we would plug more to our profit share and be purposeful about sharing what we have to offer, just finding the knowledge and be, so that agent, that we were at the $1 million house, the open house on Friday. Oh, that you and Sarah, Kim and Tim and I were there. So earlier in the day, Kim had called her because they met at Trudy's Realtor Open, and she mentioned to us that she's just amazed at the support that Keller Williams agents give to each other. She had come to the Realtor Open, and there were so many Keller Williams agents there supporting Trudy. And so Tim had called her and said, you know, I don't know if you know how Keller Williams works, but we have a cap, and went into that whole thing. And he said, with $1 million listing, you would already be
Halfway there, yeah.
You're halfway there. And then you would get 100%. She goes, really? And he's basically then put the carrot in front of the donkey and got an appointment with Aaron. But we need to be purposeful on sharing that, because as soon as they find out, you know, Warren Buffett just called Gary Keller and asked Gary Keller to buy cloud space from the Keller Cloud. And of course, Gary was like,
Because they're way behind.
no, because everybody's so far behind technology-wise.
Yeah. The other thing that I bring up at my listing presentation, if I feel that they are a business person and they would understand, but on top of that, we profit. We're the only company that does that. So you've got 100 agents working for you versus other companies that don't have that driving.
That's a good, you know, I would have never thought about that being part of a listing presentation, but that's really,
I always bring that up. If it seems like a business person and they're going to understand that.
So when you're going to listen, what do you take a script with you, or it's just?
I bring a presentation. And it's very short. It's a very short presentation. Most of the time though, I send a pre-listing. You know, I don't have to go into it. But in my listing,
They talk a lot about pricing your home right.
about pricing your home right. And I just hit in the presentation, I hit the cash. I have you know, a slide that has a lot of the website that it chooses not to, I think. And that's 5% where. So I will bring that up because that's a huge difference. Well, if you think about it, when that ex-realtor comes in, the first thing they're gonna ask is, so tell me about your technology. Yeah. You just trip them up. Yeah. Who's gonna say that it goes on to 750 on your website? No one has the capability. You just trip them up, and then what are they gonna say? What are they gonna say to that?
We got email.
I mean, everybody gets educated though, any reputable, you know, counselor, any of the big boys dedicate out to a lot. So
Not 700, because we have partnerships with them. They don't go out, and it's a specific system that's proprietary, we call it one. So it really does benefit. So think about the Dynamite. And that seller said, how many websites? You know, tell me about your technology. You know, I know that Amazon, how many websites do you have? What are they gonna say?
they're gonna stay they're gonna stay our star MLS.
Realtor.com. Yeah. And they're not really gonna be able to develop. So it's a proprietary system. And a lot of research has been spent creating.
Do you suggest at all of having a list of the different websites that?
Oh, and the presentation.
Okay, Google, turn up.
It has a bunch of websites.
Hey, Google, shut up.
And that's why I say, this is just.
But because it's technology, it changes so quickly that, yeah, I would attach it. Okay.
And the reason
But there's even.
Okay, we're gonna get back
There's
to,
a listing print of a lot of the sites.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are obsolete. If a lot of those sites are obsolete and they've merged with somebody else or whatever, if the listing presentation is more than 2 months old, it's probably different.
But they don't know that.
And you know what, that's really a good point though, that you said that, 'cause it's true, that Keller Williams in particular has bought a lot of them.
Right.
They said at family reunion, we're talking about, certain relationships that we have, proprietary relationships with companies because of our technology, that certain ones are buying in, but some are not. And there was 2 in particular, and I'm sorry, I can't tell you which 2 of them, but they said, the sad thing about it is it's gonna be too late for them. Once the time comes, and they're gonna find themselves obsolete, because everybody else, like MailChimp and PieSync and all those are buying in to a relationship with Keller Williams and the Kelly Cloud and all these other, unfortunately, right, don't buy in.
Because they have the most exposure, because we have the most amount of agents. It goes worldwide.
okay, let's redirect this way here.
Okay, should we get Sarah and
Yes,
Jamie?
I'm gonna get one of your strawberries in the meantime.
yes.
2, get 3.
Okay. That'll be my lunch, breakfast. How pathetic is that? Well, it's typical. At least it's fruit.
It's fruit and dark chocolate.
Yes, you're right. So I will go for a dark chocolate and a combo. Karen made that.
We'll have one more.
Yeah, they'll be delivered like this, April 18th.
Okay, I just didn't want to forget,
No,
so.
great, thank you.
Yep. Lori, you did a nice job.
Oh, thank you.
Did you sell the house this weekend?
Pardon?
Did you sell the house this weekend?
No. only had 4 roofs come through on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. I was really surprised.
And it was a nice day yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know why.
These, I just got these at, Hobby Lobby, at Walmart.
Some realtors
I'll be right back. I'll go get them for you.
said their clients may be interested in them. And they're talking again today.
You know what I've been doing this weekend?
What?
Moving everything upstairs from the basement.
Good idea.
I am, yeah, we won't be able to move the furnace or the water softener, but everything else. I called to see how much flood insurance would be. It would cost me $4,000, $2,000 deductible,
Oh my gosh.
and it wouldn't cover anything in the basement. Everything had to be brought up. It would cover the furnace and the water softener and the water heater,
Wow.
but that's it. So I figure I can buy a new furnace
Yeah,
and water
and a
softener.
water softener.
Yeah, for that.
And a hot water.
Yeah.
Was that upstairs?
No, it's all downstairs in the basement.
You could,
So
you could buy all that.
I'm telling Rick, but you need to move this, and he's looking at me as I'm moving everything upstairs, and he's like, I don't want to move this stuff. Okay, do you want to lose it? It's not, we're not going to. Well, I'm gonna be proactive, so it's clearing out. And he's starting to believe me now too. He went and visited with the
Especially since
neighbors.
it's flooded before.
It has never flooded. Well, maybe back in '65, but we don't know. It has gotten.
Since it flooded, have you
up.
done some things to redirect?
No, it's just that when we've had water in the basement in the past, it was because the ground is totally saturated and it just seeps in. So it's not because it's pouring in because the water's up there, it's because it's coming in. And flood insurance wouldn't cover seepage either. So,
Why do people have it then?
well, you only have flood insurance, you can only get flood insurance one place, that's from the government. And because
Really?
nobody else will touch it.
Racket.
And so they have all these stipulations on it. So there's a lot of people that get, and then has to be in effect for 30 days. So, there's just all kinds of,
So I don't understand why people would have it unless they had, oh, so you said it doesn't cover the basement.
it doesn't cover personal property. You have to move everything upstairs. So I suppose if it came upstairs, then personal property would be covered. But we're gonna ride it out.
And what's the likelihood of it coming upstairs?
Right. I don't think it'll come upstairs,
Yeah.
but I think it's
So
possible
what's the
that we
likelihood
could,
of that?
yeah. Okay, we're gonna get started here, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go back through now and review. We have another 45 minutes to review what we just did. So we're gonna, some of you worked in groups and practice, and now we're gonna go through and get some ideas here. So we're gonna start at I have it at page 13. Do you have Make It Happen? We're gonna move back.
Yep.
Okay. So, Make It Happen, working with sellers. It's time for your hard work and lead generation to pay off. Time to win the listing agreement. You have 2 tools of information, a pre-listing packet and a high-impact listing presentation. Those are both in this section. And you've kind of gone through, but we're going to go through pre-qualify the sellers to understand motivation, which was in our video. Position yourself as an expert. Win the listing, allow you to price the home to sell for the most amount of money and the shortest amount of time. Properly set sellers' expectations, allow you to create a great customer experience. Anybody have any thoughts on any of those? Or any ahas or things that just kind of stand out? I'll just offer, allow you to price the home to sell. How many times do you have people say, well, what do you think my home is worth? And my comeback to them is, you're not going to hire me based on the price that what I tell you your home is worth. You're going to hire me because I can sell your home and do a good job of it. So that's just kind of a thing to, if you are caught off guard, someone says, what do you think my home is worth? Another thing that I'll go into is, what do you think my home is worth? Well, it would take me a good couple of hours to really, I can pluck a number from thin air, but I'd rather take a couple hours to sit down and really study your home and study the market.
Those are good
And
answers.
just turn it on them too. If they
Right.
really think your home is
Make
worth.
yourself right. And oftentimes, and they always hee-haw around that. And I had this because they kept saying, what do you think your home is worth? And I'll say, what do you think your home is worth? And then shut up. Yes, Jamie.
Do you bring a CMA with you?
Every situation is different. It all depends. It really depends on my purpose.
Sometimes
It just really depends on my purpose. I don't like to, if I've never met them before, we've just had conversations, I don't want to come to their house and bring a CMA because I don't know anything about their house. And I can look online and I can go in with an idea, which generally I'll do. I'll do just a general CMA for my own idea, how much their home is worth. So then when they say, so I'm thinking your home is worth, we'll say, $290 to 325 is kind of what I have in mind maybe. But if they're going to tell me, well, I think it's worth 400,000, that gives me really, then what I have to do is go back to my CMA that I haven't given them and redefine it, if even to prove that I'm not going to be able to get that. I'm not going to be able to get that price.
Do you think that depending on the personality,
Right.
that can be something that can either be very beneficial or something that can be very offensive?
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
So is it something that maybe you can?
I think I would have it
Yeah.
ready, but not necessarily give it to them until you've seen.
I always tell them, I have an idea. I have an idea. But I'm just not going to, because again, it goes back to, you're not going to hire me to sell your house based on the number that I give you. If you're just looking for a number, then I'm not the girl for you, because if I tell you, okay, yeah, I can get 350 for your home when it's only worth 300, then I'm going to be spending my money for a photographer and stager and all those things that I do. So that's not a very good return on my investment. If I decide that I still want the listing, even though it's overpriced, then I'm going to be more aggressive with talks about, okay, let's take a look at how quickly we'll do price reductions. But you lose so much. If you're overpriced.
Like I was telling Sarah too, I had a friend of mine that actually, well, still a friend of mine, but whatever. I had a listing presentation with him, and I gave him the CMA. Well, they turned around and did the FSBO on me because they just basically he was after didn't know how to search the price out himself. Ended up using that to his advantage. Couldn't get the home sold. Then he went and listed with somebody else that he had to run into. Listed it basically for what we told him it was going to sell for in the long run. So
yeah,
it kind of ticked me off that
we all get those.
Yeah.
It's really. I've been in real estate now for 15 years, and it's really only since I plugged into KW and have taken Bold and really have gotten comfortable in my own skin, where when I'm sitting in front of somebody, as much as I want that listing, I'm not going to take something that's unrealistic. And it's really my job. My job is to provide them with information so that they can make an informed decision. If they're not going to take my information and they're going to make their own decision anyway, it's just my work is cut out for me. It's really learning every step of the way.
One of the things that I learned recently, I think I was watching a video, is one of the ways to say it, when you talk about the price reduction, say, you know what, let's start at your price first, and we'll see what happens. And then after that, let's go to what the market's telling us. So you're not saying you're saying you're talking about the market.
Yep.
Yeah. And I've started to use that.
that's good.
Zach is really good with that too.
You're not
Or maybe
offending
he's
them
the one that told us.
Yeah, and he even said, but set the expectations and the boundaries that, okay, let's agree to do this if you don't mind. We'll listen at what you want, but then let's agree that in 3 weeks, if it doesn't sell that price, in 3 weeks from now, we'll do what the market says. But give them boundaries. So that the
Exactly, and those are
expectations set up
important.
Right away.
And those boundaries, that goes right with, position yourself as an expert. I mean, when we first started, and for probably several years, at least for me anyway, I mean, clients walked all over me. I mean, I would drop what I'm doing to try and meet their needs, and that just doesn't work. That's how you get, and even though you provide information to your friend, who's still your friend, but they go somewhere else, the unfortunate part is that happens, it's gonna happen every day, you know? I mean, and it's kind of a gut, but, you learn from it and you just move forward. And every listing presentation that you do, you get stronger and stronger at. So the best way is to go and practice them, and just think of what you learned with that, Jamie, you know, because it's an icky feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you ask your friend why he went with that other realtor?
I did that later on, yeah, and then he's like backpedaling, like, I know we should have went with you, I don't know what I was thinking, blah, blah. Home ended up selling eventually, but.
Because there was something that realtor told them that you didn't.
Well, I think maybe you told them what they wanted to
Because
hear,
Once he went through and tried to do the for sale.
then he was
by owner, so
embarrassed.
Then he knew that it was more than he could handle.
Yeah.
So then it was just the timing of, sure, whoever, that person contacted him. And then, actually his wife told him, mad at him why he didn't.
Yeah.
I think Michelle's right. I think he was more or less embarrassed.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, because guys know everything, right? We can fix everything.
Jen Walsh shared something with me about friends that did list with her, and they're friends that they're really good friends with. And they were selling their property and they didn't list with her, they listed with somebody else. And so after it was all said and done, they ended up becoming just a little bit, that they became bad clients per se they were just a lot of work. And she said, so at the end of it, she found out, you know, that she was on the scrape up for it, but at the end she did ask them why, you know, just why didn't you one night when they were having drinks? And they said, the reason we didn't is because we didn't want to ruin what we have right now. And if by chance you weren't living up to our expectations, or we weren't living up to your expectations, we still wanted, our friendship was more important. And
I think it's a kind of a cop-out. I mean, it's all about a relationship. And at that point, Jamie, maybe you weren't comfortable enough in your own skin. And so maybe they just sensed that, you know?
Robin was with me. Robin.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah, we were pretty freaking, it was a good presentation, and everything. It's just, and I think he had in the back of his mind from the get-go that he was gonna have a set amount that he wanted to have. He basically told us, I've gotta have this amount that I need to make, because I've got this left on my mortgage. We're building a new home, blah, 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 blah. So the numbers didn't jive what he thought we were gonna tell him that he was thinking he could get for the home was around 250 or 350, whatever it was. And we were like, no, it's gonna be more like, 30,000 less than what he was hoping.
and attitude is simply an alternative to reality. He didn't like what he heard. Yeah.
I think it's exactly what Laura said. They said something that you did.
Yeah.
You were probably honest and upfront with
And I
them.
told him, I said, Adam was his name, and I said, Adam, I said, listen to Robin, she knows this market, she's a straight shooter, she's probably where you should be at, what it's gonna take to get it sold. She was right into that. He just had that number in his mind, and he didn't want to let go of it.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen.
So did he do a FISBO then first before he listed it?
Yeah, with the other person. What
What do you mean with FISBO with the other
No,
person?
after.
Then he listed.
Right.
He did
So-
physical after he met with us, and then,
In a situation like that, could you keep in really good close and say, you know, Adam, I understand you're gonna try to sell your house. Can I touch base with you on a weekly basis, see how it's going and?
yeah, I kind of did that. I think it comes down like what Michelle said. I think he was more embarrassed that we were right, and he told him to get going, and
So it's
he didn't want to
ego, male
come
ego.
crawling back going, I was wrong. And
Right, he wanted to save face.
But I think Jason hit it on the head. You know, men, and no, absolutely no disrespect at all,
yeah, no,
but I think he hit on the head. Men want to think they know.
right.
And Tim always says that when we go into Home Depot or something, there's a video on it, but don't ask them for help, I know more than they do.
And another thing is that it is possible because it was, maybe Robin is very aggressive and maybe he didn't like that, you know? I mean, because it kind of goes against, he didn't like to hear the truth and so.
But also, you know, a lot of FSBO people say you keep in contact with those FSBOs after you've lost the listing, they've decided to go FSBO, no hard feelings. Here's a seller's disclosure. Everybody needs to fill one of these out. Just my gift to you.
Make sure it doesn't say KW on it.
Right. Call me if, you know, you decide not to do this anymore.
Do you know what okay, so if you're going after FSBOs, and one of the things, a tool that we have for knowledge is that seller's property disclosure. They're selling the property on their own. Do they know that they have to have a seller's property disclosure? So we can take one with us, but we can't have our brokerage on it because if they were to use with KW logo on it and then share that with people, then it assumes liability for us. Okay, so.
I have one if anyone wants it.
Oh, you
I white it
can
out.
pull it off the,
I whited out Keller Williams.
oh, yeah,
You can just get it
You
on
can
the
just-
form.
yeah.
Or you can, I tell them, you can get it from your attorney or a closing company.
And you're gonna love this. I used to do closing, I used to work for a title company. Title companies go online to find this stuff because they don't have the stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Their job, honestly, is to read them. They're not
Get it
not
closed.
to write contracts. And so they really struggle in writing purchase agreements because,
And they're not liable either.
right?
They're not liable at all, a title company.
Just real quickly, pre-qualifying the seller, we kind of talked about this, but oftentimes maybe that seller is they just want to know what their home is worth. So again, that's not, when I meet somebody for the first time, I'm not going to give them a price on their home. Page 14 is just a little bit about you and questions that you can ask of the seller. The pre-listing packet. An effective pre-listing packet positions you as their real estate expert of choice, the best person to get their home sold for the right price in the least amount of time and with the least hassle. The pre-listing packet plays two critical roles. I want to go back, one thing that jumps out with me. I like this when we think about selling ourselves. I mean, our job is to get the home sold, net you the most money with the least amount of hassle. Just practice saying that. That's the best script of all, you know. My job is to net you the most money with the least amount of hassle. That's what sellers want. They don't want that stress. So, next page. Information, ways that you can help. Take a minute, just read through that. And I want somebody, it's all about you. Read through, I will help you buy.
Okay.
There used to be a little cartoon type thing that we could give to our sellers, kind of about the process. It goes through all of this. You remember that little cartoon? And to go through that with clients, what do they expect? Here's what's going to happen next. Where did we hear that from? Always be able to say, you know, guide them through, here's what's going on and here's what's going to happen next. Anybody have any ahas on that? Get ready to list. What will it sell for?
This on, this page on,
Page 17.
Michelle, is this on KW or my KW.com printed off?
Yes.
Under education and they can.
So if yours is a little bit different, I've got it up here. Whoops. What page were we on?
17.
Actually, 17.
Oh, goodness sakes. Do you have page 20, questions for you?
Yep.
Number 3, how would you like to be communicated with? Do you ask your clients this?
Yeah, I was telling Sarah that I had a situation with a buyer that worked out good. She worked at Mayo. She couldn't take phone calls during the day. And I said, look, I prefer to text actually, if I can get with you that way. It worked out where this house came on the market and I texted her. I said, I really want you to see this house tonight. That would work. And I just think, you never know. Stuff comes up so fast and it can be gone so fast too if you're not on it, if you don't stay on top of it.
I have a client that he only wants phone calls.
Really?
Only wants phone calls. So it's not that I don't send him emails, but I have to make sure that I call him first and let him know that I'm going to send him an email. And it's a generational thing. I mean, but it's just kind of something that is important to ask about their communication styles. If you talk to, if you have an 80-year-old lady and you want her to text or email, that might scare them away. They really prefer that personal touch. 21, about me. There's a lot of information in here. You probably won't have it all in your packet because there's just too much to listen to. But a little bit about me. Now everything is done online. So when you're listing, does anybody claim their spots out there and you market your listings? Now we have this home snap. After a home sells, does anyone do that? Get themselves rated online? That's kind of the new thing to do.
Does HomeSnap send you an email?
HomeSnap is always following up whenever a listing closes. Then I get all this, and I did go into HomeSnap once, but then it's really got to cost money.
Yeah.
Clark did it. He claimed them all on Zillow or on every home that he sold. He went through, and then I think he asked for listings.
Zillow will actually do that. They'll tell you after the house sells. They give you the email and everything to send your seller. All you have to do is put their name on it.
Oh.
Same with Realtor.com. It'll do the same thing.
I've never seen those.
Just recently I received. Really? Yeah, just in the last month. And I sent it out to my clients.
I haven't seen that either. But
Never
maybe it's
did
something,
until the last month.
okay, maybe it's something that's new. There's been a lot of things, I think, with the new North Star. Okay, page 24, walk through the home. We've had this discussion here a little bit too. I mean, I think in the listing presentation, he did it in 5 minutes. I think it was kind of felt that as our clients' expectations, they're going to expect us to take more than 5 minutes to go through their home, depending upon every situation is different.
This is similar to the disclosure, the checklist, all that stuff.
No.
But this is for us, right?
Yeah, this is just an example. Yeah.
And it's also what you're gonna need to know.
On your MLS input sheet.
Boxes.
Yeah.
Check on.
When you
But they
list a
check-
home.
But they check disclosure.
The disclosure, right, they fill out. We can't touch the disclosure.
So what, would you just wait for the disclosure or what do you, what's the?
No.
This is
different.
something, right, this is kind of to build that rapport with your client.
It's exactly what Karen said, it's the stuff that you have to put in MLS.
Anyway,
So
but you can
Like
ask
official
them.
Information in the disclosure, like it's, you know.
Do they have a water softener, is it on?
Is your water heater gas or electric? That's the one I always, well, not anymore, but I always forgot to check. Water
Is there
heater,
a
gas or electric.
fireplace?
I always
Do
forget
they have
the
a
water
fence
softener.
in your, what kind of fence? What
And
kind of
ceiling
shingle?
That's in the
fans.
disclosure.
Ceiling
No.
fans.
This?
Sometimes I'll go through before my photographer and I'll take pictures of of the house just for my own reference, so that when I'm filling out that MLS data sheet, then I can go back, so
Yeah.
look for ceiling fans, yeah, because I
Yeah.
can't remember, are there ceiling fans or the driveway, is it concrete, is it paved, what's the driveway? There's just little things that siding,
And
yeah,
with the new MLS forms, the data sheets, there's so much more
Oh, yeah.
than what we were used
Yeah,
to.
yep.
There's so much more you have to look at.
siding, just a thought. Can you tell veteran or the new agents, can you tell by looking at a house if it's steel siding or vinyl?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you get more into it,
You know what I do?
you start, or take a
That's
magnet,
what I do.
or if you're unsure if it's aluminum or steel, or, take your magnet and see if it'll stick on there.
Most of the time, the steel that used to be put on the 6-inch compared to the 4-inch. A lot of the vinyl is 4-inch that they put on now.
So they're saying, okay, what page am I on? Right here, 25. We will review the entire listing presentation, page by page. I don't think that we will do that. We'll be here all day. So, but you do have a guide to selling your home. Page 28, you kind of go through to prepare yourself, appointments. Lori did a really good job of, and you weren't all in here. So Lori, will you go through page 29?
Thank you.
Yes. So Lori just kind of she kind of turned it into a script. As we meet a potential seller, she used on page 29, and she just did it short and sweet. So go for it, Lori. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. My goal is to get you the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time.
No, you forgot the most important part.
What?
The very first thing. What does it say? Explanation mark.
That one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought I already said that. Oh, you wanted me
You
to say it
did,
again?
you did totally.
Well, before you asked me.
Oh, I didn't hear the thank you. Okay. Because I think it was so important is to thank them for their time.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to get your home sold. My goal is to get you the most amount of money in the shortest time and with the least amount of hassle. I look forward to putting my expertise to work for you from listing to closing and beyond. Let me go over the goals for today. I want to discuss your motivation for selling. Let's define your 10+ experience expectations. Review what you expect from Keller Williams and me. Explain the selling process from listing to closing, and review the 3 factors that get your home sold. And then we can decide whether we want to go together.
I love that. I mean, if you just had those goals right before you, you can come up with your thank you for your time and little verbiage there. But just to go, because it's all about a relationship and it's what you're going to do for them. And these goals, they discuss it right from the very beginning. I like, when you ask them, what do you expect from me? That gives them a chance to really, it's so important that you have such an open relationship with your clients that they can tell you anything. And that's what I want my clients to know. I want you to know that, I mean, you're not hiring me because of the price that I put on your home. You're hiring me because of the relationship that you feel comfortable talking with me, and you need to be able to ask me anything. And even when I had a client that say, we love you, Michelle, we love you, but you're too nice, and that's something that I think I've battled. A lot of people think I'm just too nice. So being able to say thank you for that and let me share with you that I am nice, but I'm a bulldog too. And I know what I need to do. And I can be that. It's interesting because it gives you a chance to share their concerns and to turn it around and prove something that, yes, I am, but that doesn't mean that I can't do this. But your goals for today is really setting up the expectations of one another.
And one of the things that I would add that I've started to do, or remember to do it all the time, is we just have 6 goals. I know you're not going to go on and on and on. That's good.
Exactly, because if you're in high I, you have an hour and it turns into 2.
Yeah.
And
it keeps you on track.
Yes. Yep. Uncover and prioritize the seller needs. Ask lots of questions, and generally one question might lead to another question. If they ask you a question and that you give a question back to them, I mean, the question is a two-way, and until you get all your questions answered, it's hard to move on to the next step. Again, those questions are the relationship. It's the rapport building with your client. So encourage them to ask any questions. There's no such thing as a bad question or a stupid question. And then listening more. This is my big, that I'm always working on, listening more than I talk. It's all about you. It really is. My job is to provide information so that they can make an informed decision, whatever it is, whether I'm selling real estate or I'm selling dessert or I'm selling St. Patty's Day, whatever it is that I'm selling, it's just, provide information. It's, I feel that my job is to serve them to get their home sold. It's all about serving my client. And so when it's all about them, that's what it's all about. It makes them feel good. Delivering a 10+ experience. Jason, tell me what that means to you.
Delivering a 10+ experience.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd have to say, depending on who I am, you'd have to be probably at my beck and call and be able to answer every question that I have, because, I might be somewhat a novice at selling a home, but yet there might be some questions that I'm an expert on. So
I love it. Except that you're at their beck and call. Deb, what do you want to say to that?
And I've learned a lot from listening to Zach, and he just said it last Wednesday. His daughter has a dance recital at 4 o'clock, and he doesn't want to miss it. So it's defining a great experience within boundaries also. So set out those. I want to make sure that you understand what I'm willing to do for you, but make sure they understand the what's the word? It's not expectation. Just the boundaries that we have within also, make sure they understand everything. So I'm willing to answer any phone call that you have for me up till 9 o'clock at night. I try to take past 9 o'clock for my family or to put my kids to bed or whatever it might be. But make sure you do that to yourself and reward yourself when you give this experience. Just everything's upfront. But I think you have to know them. Jason hit it. You have to know them. And why are they selling? Lori said, why are you selling? Or what's probably something that's going to hold you back or be the biggest obstacle is your emotional attachment. Okay, so how do you get through that? How do you get through somebody's emotional attachment to their house?
Let them talk about it. I mean, but you have to set your hours of work. I think if you stayed till 9 was great. I mean, even if you have on your voicemail, you know, I will answer I check my voicemail at 2 o'clock every day and at 7 o'clock at night, and will respond accordingly. But I think to be at someone's beck and call when we're learning real estate is something that we do because we want every piece of business that we have. But when you realize that you have a family and you have a life that you need to take care of, because if you can't take care of your life, it's going to be really hard to take care of real estate.
And I think that goes back to the time blocking.
That time blocking again, yeah.
And it's hard because we don't know when clients are going to call. We don't know.
And they don't know that your schedule is wide open. And if they're making an assumption that you're there at their beck and call, I mean, so it's real good to say, you know, I can't do it. I have an appointment at 2 o'clock today, even if it's the grocery store. It doesn't matter what it is. They don't know where I am unless we Facebook every minute of our
And it
time.
makes you look really busy.
And it makes us look
Correct.
busy, yeah.
And Lori,
There's a lot
what's
of
that
people out
saying?
there,
There's
There's
never an
emergency.
emergency in real estate.
but they're your boss. They hired you.
No,
Everything
they,
can be
you
said.
agreed,
At least
it goes
I'm
back
just
to
throwing
the,
it out there.
but it is important to remember, it goes back to a few slides ago, is that, we're hiring each other. You know, we're hiring each other. And,
Lori said it when she was doing the 6 steps. And then after this
Yes.
presentation, we'll decide if we're gonna work.
Yeah.
We'll decide
Whether
if
we
we're
want to
gonna
go into
work.
business.
And whether
And
we wanna go in
that's
business.
creating your boundaries right there,
Because
you know.
it's 2 people making, or 2 groups making that decision, not just one. They might wanna hire you, but after meeting with you.
You may not want to
you
work
may
with
not wanna
them,
work with
yeah.
them. You might have a smoky house full of cats.
And you don't know what to do with your cat.
Jason, I don't mean to pick on you, but I absolutely love the things that you have to say
Just
because
spitballing
you're
it
a
out
newer, yeah, and do them because there's feedback for everything, and it's really a mindset that, again, establishing yourself as the local expert, and they're going to ask you questions that you don't know the answer to. That's life. Every day we're asked questions that we don't know the answer to. And the best thing that you can do is say, let me find that out for you. Because as soon as we say anything wrong, and when we get nervous and when we get new, it's real easy for us to say things and we don't even know what we're saying because we're nervous. And then we find out, well, I think of a situation where when I first got started in real estate and we're having an open house, and this was back in like 2005, 2006, and there's like 20 people in the house. I mean, everybody's pouring into it. And someone said, why are they moving? And I don't remember what I said, but I got called into my broker's office the next day, and I was told that I said, well, his wife died. And he doesn't want, I seriously, it was a doctor's wife. I think it was something, I still don't believe that I said that, but when we get nervous and we get excited and when we're new, we want so much to please. We're people pleasers. We want to please that person and make them like us. And so just watch how that anxiety, I mean, when we can feel ourselves, that anxiety taking a hold of us and our stomach starts churning or we start sweating or our brain starts thinking faster than what we can speak, and to take a deep breath and just, you don't have to know the answers. It's all about you. Why Keller Williams Realty? I'm going to go through, and I just want everyone to say one thing, okay? New or old? Why Keller Williams?
Training and technology.
How does that matter? I'm the seller. How does your training and technology help me as the seller?
As a seller, you're going to get the best possible scenario on everything that you can expect from a realtor just by hiring me.
Okay. Good. Who can feed off of that? Lori?
I would say that number one, we are number one in the world.
What does that mean?
That means that you have a lot of agents that are working on behalf of your home. The greatest volume of agents. I also tell them that because we're the number one in the world, we have the ability to leverage our technology with a lot of website providers, search engines rather. And they come to us to partner because we're number one. So your house goes out to over 750 websites and it's proprietary to Keller Williams.
Awesome. Karen, why Keller Williams?
You know, I mean,
Something
honestly,
different, something
yeah,
different.
I'm not the Karen Cameron team, but when you hire me, you do hire our team because everybody that I work with is willing.
So
to
who's a
pitch
part
in.
of your team?
Lori Mang, Deb, you know, everybody.
Partners title,
Right.
lender,
Katie,
Southeastern
Katie,
Association of
our
Realtors,
Dolphins, yes.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, and it's a process where, yes, I'm going to be your point of contact and that simplifies things. But if and when there's an instance when I personally can't help you, I can guarantee. that you'll-
There's somebody on my team that I can find the answer. Yeah, awesome. Jamie,
I was gonna kind of say the same thing Lori said, but say a little different. When you hire me, you're hiring not just myself, you're hiring my whole brokerage full of agents worldwide, locally, et cetera, that, if I need help for any reason in selling your home, I have other agents that I interact with on a daily basis that will help make this happen for you. And also the name Keller Williams, many people have heard of our company throughout this area. And it's Keller Williams brand.
I like that. I mean, in the world and depending upon your client, you know, if they're more business, I mean, maybe that world is big. Maybe you might want to keep it more local. You know, it all depends on that person. Vic, Sarah.
Stagings. Home sell because of correct pricing and great presentation. You know what it takes to make the terrific first impression that'll get your home sold.
Tell me your first name.
Mahmoud.
Mahamud.
I go by Mo.
Mo. I can remember that.
So
Mo, why Keller Williams?
one thing I'll say, something that Morris said. So it was about, like the publisher, if there's somebody, as she said, not just hiring, but also hiring the whole office, goes with the publisher-based company. And basically, every agent is like working with their own interest too. They're not only paying you, but also they take the person out. We are publisher-based, so and you're hiring the whole brokerage, everybody out.
Very good. Yeah.
For me, I believe that Keller Williams culture defines us agents. And we're number one in the world because of our culture and coming from a business of contribution. We look out for our agents, we look out for our clients, and they're number one. And the one thing that I find is that we are a debt-free company. We're a debt-free company because we believe we invest in our agents to make them better all the time. And so I think because we come from a company of contribution,
the 180,000 agents that are Keller Williams agents all over the world are working towards the same goal, and that's to serve you.
And I'll feed off of the culture piece. And I overheard when we were working in our groups, Deb had mentioned talking to an agent who was impressed at the support that KW offers. I'm going to share my own experience working at another brokerage. You'd go into these weekly meetings, and I would go into the weekly meeting and I'd be so excited to go, and I would leave there feeling like inferior, because it was always like a greed fest. You'd go in and it was like, who has the biggest listing and who's got the new client, but it was never anything to make me feel good about myself, and I walked out of there feeling like a squash bug. So the culture, when I made the decision to come to KW, I like the fact that whoever comes in, we're all on the same playing field. I don't care who your name is. We're not going to be getting any preferential treatment. We all have this vast amount of tools that we can take what we want and leave the rest. No other real estate company, I mean, we're still competitive with one another, right? But when someone gets the listing, we may have that little bit of jealousy. That's almost normal. But we also say congratulations, and we truly feel happy for our fellow agents on the listings that they got. So, thank you. Yeah, that section of Keller Williams, I mean, it goes through a lot of things. You can read through there and take what you want and leave the rest. We're getting towards the end of our time here. I still got 25 minutes.
I like, as we were going through, if we were following, their suggestions here, you get from me, I like the one on experience and expertise, because a lot of times people think they can sell their house on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you overcome that without saying that, so what they say here is the complexities of your real estate transaction will be well handled. Smoothing the way for your listing and sale, I'll remove potential challenges before they even have the chance to appear. I'll work with the negotiating that comes with contract work, and to kind of let them know that it's not a piece of cake to sell your home, and there are lots of challenges and important.
Those are all services that you're going to provide.
Right.
Again, it's making yourself known as the expert here, and maybe not an expert as far as knowledge, but it's an expert at delivering a phenomenal customer or client experience. Note cards. This is something I write in every note card, or I'll do my lead generating, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell real estate that I could offer phenomenal service to? Now, there's so many things that we can do to provide service, but when you say something that's just pretty short and to the point, who do you know that I can deliver phenomenal service to? That sounds really appealing to them. And so to go through and list all the things is, as you work with them more, again, that's part of building your relationship. And every step that you take will lead to another step. And to prove that you can follow through on that phenomenal service. Anyone got anything to add?
When it comes to marketing, there is a part that says neighborhood tracking and automated buyer calling systems. Allow me to reach active buyers who want to know about your. That's something that I do.
Automated?
No, I
Okay.
don't do it automated.
Okay.
And I let them know that I personally contact these people myself. The seller asked me to call the neighborhood to invite them.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
So what was interesting, I did this last week for this open house I had this weekend. And this neighbor said, wow, do you do this whenever you have a listing? I said, what do you mean? And she said, call and invite them. And I said, yes, I do. She said, I'm really impressed. And I'm like, oh, you never know who's going to be that next seller.
You never know. You never know. And the other thing you don't know is when you go out and you do that, that was a huge warm fuzzy, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's your fuel that just lights your fire and makes you want to go on to the next. So when you do your calls, I want you to get as many no's as you can. Just get as many no's as you can, because every no is going to get you more comfortable with whatever it is that you're saying or your purpose you're trying to do. And then, and if you track your calls, you'll start learning, okay, do I get 100 no's the first time before I finally get a yes? And then maybe it's down to 80 no's and then 70. So and with every no that you get, usually they give you something like why it's a no. So write it down, because then that's your opportunity to come up with a script for that.
Another agent.
Yes. There's just so many things. You have to be out there and be active and seeking those no's and seeking whatever it is that you're seeking in order to get it. It goes back in bold to tell you from the very beginning, and it's all in the numbers. Your success is all in the numbers. And while those numbers, the odds might fluctuate a little bit with the market, but it doesn't matter. It's still get those calls made. Go for the nose. And yeah, I love the idea of calling. So Lori, when you call, you're doing an open house at this house in this neighborhood. How do you get the neighbors' numbers?
Call directory, resource, or white pages.
Okay.
No, actually, I take it back. Call directory resource.
And call directory, that's something that you subscribe to on a yearly?
$1,000 a year.
How much?
$1,000.
$1,000 a year. And what does that give you?
It gives you, sometimes it gives you email addresses. Sometimes it gives you multiple phone numbers.
Cell phone numbers?
Cell phone numbers, home lines. Sometimes it gives you family members. I've done that before, called family members, without knowing it, but who cares?
Now, White Pages does that too.
White pages, but you can't put an address in and it show the whole neighborhood.
Okay. Oh, so, okay. Where the call directory. So if someone doesn't have that, how else could somebody get the neighbors?
Walk the neighborhood
Would you
with
go
a
to
flyer.
tax? Yes.
Yes, exactly.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't give you a phone number.
Right, so then you'd have to.
You'd have to go
Email
back.
address.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can get names from the tax records,
But then you
have
could
to
go
research
through.
it some more.
You'd have to, yeah,
You
go to
on
White
Facebook
Pages.
and- yeah, then you have to go down to Facebook.
That
Yep.
sounds-
You go into the white pages, and that's just a $20 subscription a month.
So, so what does the subscription for White Page, because I can go to White Pages, doesn't cost me anything. If I pay $20 a month, what do I get?
All the information that they block out.
White Pages doesn't give you much information anymore without a subscription.
It'll give me, if they have a landline, it'll give me that number and it'll give me their address. But then if they
You
don't,
have their cell number.
but even if I subscribe to it, would I get the cell number
Yeah.
on White Pages?
White Pages premium.
Really? You
Would
do?
give me a cell phone number
Yes,
at $20 a month?
yes.
No.
It'll give
Oh,
you,
yeah, up
no,
to a
it'll give
certain-
you several phone numbers.
But you get
And not all of them are right.
100 a month at $19.99.
Okay,
But if you go over 100 calls, you're gonna go over 100 a month.
What?
It's 100, it's $100 a month for other,
mm-hmm,
1,200 a year versus 1,000.
yeah,
But start with your seller. Just say, this is the form of marketing that I have. Are you in a neighborhood association, or do you have some kind of a list of your neighbors' names and contact information?
I like
I'll
that.
start with that.
Especially if it's an association.
yeah,
You typically have that, right? If it's a neighborhood,
you don't, yeah.
They don't.
That is a great idea though for an association. Maybe I should just tell my dad, Dad, can I hold an open house? Anyway,
Door knocking is great.
but door knocking is, yeah, and if you maybe have a flyer, even if it's just a black and white flyer, you know, I'm having an open house here at your neighbor's house, and staple your color business card to it. And maybe just print one, put open house and the time with your business card, and, you know, make 20 of them. And even if they're not home, just leave it in their door, you know, if you're invited to an open house. I like that idea. I'm gonna do that next time. And it's good to get out and be seen.
She talks about it at her door knocking.
Especially if it's not January.
But even then,
I know.
they're impressed.
So usually, when it's just sold out, they usually invite you to the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
the best
true.
part.
So it kind of gives you that little bit more time to talk.
Although Sarah and I had one, and it was 0, and it was windy, and we didn't fight.
Yeah, he didn't.
You look sketchy, I wouldn't invite you.
And we're like,
It was below 0 with wind chill that day.
There's so much information here to go through
they're
the guide to
actually,
selling your home.
they're actually very impressed when you tell them that you are gonna contact the neighborhood and invite them on your behalf. Because when that next realtor comes in that they're interviewing, they're gonna ask them how they get the word out to the neighbors.
And with that being said, when you're at a listing appointment, ask them how many agents are they going to interview, and then tell them questions to ask that agent.
Questions that work in your favor.
Right. So here's another tidbit. One thing that used to really intimidate me, you know, how many listings do you have? So here's my comeback. You know, how big is my business compared to what? You know, you may have, you know, Mr. Seller, you may have your goals of what an agent would be, but my goal is to work to support my family, invest and play. You know, my goal is not to be a mega $1 million agent. My goal is to meet my goals, keep my business small enough so that I can handle my business. Like for me, I'm an individual agent. I don't have a team. But my goals are my goals. So
But you do have a team.
You're right, I do have a team. But don't let them intimidate you by saying, you know, how many listings do you have? I've sold them all. Every year I have my goals, I meet and I exceed my goals.
Or you tell them how many listings the office has. They don't know that those are your part of your team.
But then it goes against, if, you know, I want to keep my business so I can manage it. and
No,
if you
I'm
say-
saying you can do either.
But, right, because
However
we're a
you want it to
team.
be.
Keller Williams has,
Right.
if we know that number, which generally we don't off the top of our head know how many
But you should know when you walk in.
how many
How many
listings Keller Williams has.
in-
I've never done that
in
before.
the market center.
How many do we have right now?
I don't know, I'm not going down the listing presentation.
We know how many Rochester has between 200 and 300?
You mean total.
Yeah.
Total listings, how many of them belong to
Between that
KW?
price range, at 200 and wasn't it 300?
Oh, yeah.
325?
Yeah, a minimum of 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yeah, like 18.
Yeah.
Isn't that many?
Yeah,
And most of them are active
Inspection.
So no,
yeah,
talking on your behalf, I think that's a great one. You know, I like to contain my business. You know, I don't want to grow that way
yeah.
because I like the personal touch. You know, if you need any feedback, you give me.
Yep.
I know the most about your house than anything. But the other, and so that's a perfect one. And the other great one is how many listings Keller Williams have.
I would think this, I'd spin it as this, let's say you're the homeowner and I'm the agent, of course. I would say, Michelle, that's a very good question and I appreciate that, but, I've got about 2 or 3 listings.
And, no buts,
And,
and,
and I have 2 or 3 listings right now that I'm working on. Compared to somebody that's got 20 listings, I would say, if you were in my shoes, would it be more easy to manage and focus on the 2 or 3 listings or the 20 listings? But shut up and let them answer.
Yeah.
And if they answer and say, well, you're right, I can see that it would be easier to focus on 2 or 3, then you've handled that objection. Go on.
And know for yourself. I mean, I look at for myself, I know that I want to have 3 things going at all times. That's what I can handle. If I go 4, I'm going to start pressing myself. And 5, it's going to get overloaded. But start with 3, and then once one drops off, then I know that I need to get another. So that's just my personal goal. That's what keeps me comfortable. But then once I got 3, if there are 3 homes to sell and they're, you know, maybe a price point that's not selling right away, then I know that I'm going to have to go and get more because they're up and running and they're going, but now I need to get some more to feed it.
One of the other ways I've been answering that, when they ask me how many listings I have, and I say, well, typically I carry 20 all the time. I said, but they keep selling so fast. Because my last ones have sold over list price within 2 days. I can't keep them on the market. Or is that not gonna impress them?
Lori,
Sarah?
I love that script, but as a brand new agent, would you role play it with somebody who asked that to a brand new agent, what you would say?
Yeah, what I would say is I would find out how many listings Keller Williams needs to have.
And just change the I to we.
Yeah.
The team.
And again, bring it back to your goals. You know, you're going into, I mean, you're going to have an intimate relationship with this person, you know, hopefully just for a few months, but they want to know kind of, you know, what are your goals? You know, my goals. I just think it's important not to let the consumer intimidate us because we only have maybe a couple listings. I mean, right now, I don't know if anybody has 20 listings, you know, it's just, that's not the kind of market that we have right now. It's pretty low. Every day I look at the hot sheet and I keep track of every day, you know, listings, pendings, price reductions, and solds. And when you track that every day, I mean, you go on and you see, oh, all of Rochester. I mean, Rochester has 2 new listings today. You know, 2 of them are pending. You know, so we're kind of maintaining kind of a washed market. There's still a shortage of inventory out there. So again, to bring, you know, how many listings do you have? What makes you great? Bring it back to what makes me great is that I have goals that I set and I meet and exceed my goals every year.
And also, if you're a new agent and you're anticipating objections like or questions about your experience, your expertise, it's nice to have thought about some of your responses. But if you go in there with confidence, it's rare that you get those specific questions. You know, I've never had somebody ask me how many listings.
I have. I have, and it's come up quite a few times.
As a new agent, new salesperson, whatever, if you can't answer the question, don't be worried. Don't worry about it. Just say, look, you know what? That's a great question, Michelle. If it's really important to you, I can get you an answer back by the end of the day. Just write the question down.
I have so many listings.
And just remember the question, or even if nothing else, think ahead of time.
But unfortunately, at this time I don't have any. If that's your if you're gonna base your decision on that, then I'm sorry, I don't have any at the moment. This is my goal, you know, to get, you know.
Yeah,
I like it better, what Lori said, finding out how many Keller Williams has,
I
yeah.
wasn't speaking specifically about that question.
Right.
I was talking about.
Any question, yes.
Don't be gun shy about getting with objections or whatever. Just, if you don't know it, don't have to answer it. No, it's not right away.
Yes.
And then you get back to them. That shows that, you know what?
Yep, very good. You hear it,
Yeah.
guys? Paul has a good one.
You can also use it in your I have 0 like listings. I have all the time access to all the effort, right? Make sure it's all.
And maybe say, I don't have any listings at this moment. I have 6 buyers, and that's the problem, is I don't have any listings at the moment. So always leave them with the positive, because there's buyers and there's sellers, unless you're a buyer's agent, but if you're sellers, I don't have any listings right now. I've sold them all, but I do have buyers.
Do we have teams or whatever here that are, I mean, do Mayo's have, but I mean, are just solely buyer's agents or
I
listing
don't know.
agents here?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
No. I just wanted to bring up 2 things that have worked for me, okay? Number 1, in my listing presentation, I have an organization. And it has me as a CEO, and I have Katie as operations, I have Nikki as marketing, because
She's she's our director of agent.
Christina, I have Erin, I have Katie on that side. So
We should
this is
put
my team,
Michelle Smith on there too,
yeah. That's a good
I mean,
one.
does everybody know who Michelle Smith is?
She's our attorney.
And so she's our legal person, and so,
That was a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's
because
always-
They're gonna be paying their attorney if they represent.
That's
themselves.
right.
And we pay
Yep,
for
yep.
them. So
So-
the other thing that came up recently, and it just dropped out of my mouth, so I felt pretty good about it. It was, it was a $750,000 listing, and that's the first time I ever went after one that big. And I actually got an appointment, and so the first thing she asked me, well, one of the first things, and she said, how many houses have you sold in this price range? I haven't sold any, but, so I said to her, I haven't sold any in this price range. I said, but the reason for that is there's not that many in this price range. She's like, that's good. So don't feel afraid to go after those large.
Yeah, and the large ones, it's
It's
the same amount of work, whether it's a $100,000 home or $1 million home. And the work involved, the bottom line is everything is in the contract. So learning the contract, and the best way to learn the contract is by getting a contract, because you can go to all the classes that you want to learn the contract, but until you're actually in the middle of a contract and how each line works, I mean, there's not a single problem that come up in real estate that is not addressed in the contract.
Well, and practice that.
It's,
Go
yeah.
sit with somebody and practice giving that contract to them,
Mm-hmm.
and going over it upside down, so
Yeah.
you know it.
Okay, we're getting to the end of class here. And so you'll get your mission work you have your homework, right? For next week.
We need to bring our laptops on Wednesday, because we're gonna look at how, not doing it, but.
Oh.
Karen's doing it. You're supposed to bring your laptop, because we're gonna, search MLS, or start MLS for houses and stuff.
Okay. Let's wrap up with your ahas. Anyone got an aha for today? Biggest aha? Yes, Mo.
Yeah, one thing I get is ask you guys with something, but if you have a list, like, always make sure you have like one-on-one, like face-to-face, like appointment. And one thing that happened to that I was talking to this like a person who had like a house with but the mistake I made was that I talked to them on the phone, which I feel like people would have gotten like one-on-one and Travis and Stevie said, it would make a difference. I was on the phone and I talked to him. It's just like I did not get that structure out.
But you talk fantastic, I mean, to have those conversations and to have them more and more. It all depends, everybody's different, and the age, I mean, it kind of goes back with what's the preferred method of communication. But face-to-face ultimately is always going to give you that an advantage. Anybody else have an aha to share? No? time to go on and to next.
Make phone calls.
Yes. Thank you,
Make phone
everybody.
calls and write
I want to
letters.
say how impressed I am that you've all made the commitment to do this. I mean, that's impressive. That's a huge commitment.
Who just called me?
Tina
Those
Curtis.
employees, that's what happens to the instructors too.
Wow.
Thank you, Michelle.
Well,
It's true.
Warm and
Where is that?
my first,
That is
Winging
a
it.
really nice thing about these classes too, is to get the perspectives from the different
Actual.
everyone had tips, yeah.
Actual agents,
Mhm.
not just somebody.
Well, because everyone has a different experience.
Everyone has, just go for the experience. Go for the nose, because every nose is going to get you a new experience.
Oh, I like that, Michelle.
Mhm. That's your aha, go
And
for
I
the
have a
nose.
lot of experience because I have a lot of those. Well, I guess I screwed up on that. I won't do that again.
And don't forget to put on your calendar Thursday, 5:30 to 7:30
Yep.
in this room for a party.
Party.
St. Patrick's Day party. I just got all some more stuff. The curtain came.
Oh,
Yeah, I wanna see it.
fun. Well, I've received more no's. But at least people are letting me know it's a no.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought that I put it out on Facebook, but I'm not positive.
I'm going to.
I thought that I did, but I
You
don't see
did
it.
because somebody asked me,
Oh,
See you tomorrow.
am I,
See,
Bye,
okay,
Jamie.
okay.
do I have to turn anything off?
oh, am I invited to this party? And I'm like, what party? And they said,